Thing. That would be hilarious.
Elon Musk. You got this. Hey everybody, welcome to JC and the Beardless. We're your hosts. I'm JC.
I'm the Beardless, and today we're going to be talking about Trump and the EU trade war, which has ended apparently. We're going to talk about San Francisco trying to ban even more stuff, and Twitter shadow banning conservatives. And then there'll be a little bit more at the end of the show, all for your viewing and listening pleasure. You're welcome. All right, let's hit it off, JC. What you got for me?
All right, Trump and the EU with the tariffs and the not tariffs anymore.
Tariffs and the not tariffs, okay.
It's interesting. Do you think that... I guess we should tell them what happened, right?
Yeah,
I was just going to jump right into the question about it. But
what?
Okay,
What's
so basically...
Who is this Trump guy?
I'm not about to sit here and explain what a tariff is.
Okay.
That's a little too
All
far.
right.
But
okay.
But apparently, who did he meet with? Do you know who he met with?
Juncker.
Juncker.
My name is Juncker, and I am the president of the EU, and I push for free trade.
That was horrible. I don't know what it turned into there. I was going for like some kind of Dutch thing, and it was.
That sounded a lot more like Sweden, but I loved it.
Oh, okay, that's better than I thought it
keeping
sounded. Okay,
That's going to be a consistency.
President Juncker.
Okay, so anyways, Trump met with
President Juncker.
and they discussed some tariff relief, I guess.
Tariff relief, yeah.
Yeah, tariff relief.
That
They
sounds like
decided
that's going to be a new concert that's going to happen
Tariff
next
relief.
month. Like, everybody come out for tickets for Tariff Relief 2018.
it's like the new Warped Tour, but for nerds.
Drake is going to be there.
I don't think Drake would ever be involved in something called tariff relief. But so the EU has decided to start negotiations with Trump about relieving certain tariffs. They want to buy a bunch of stuff from us.
What's the big two?
The big two
ones.
are LNG, liquefied natural gas, and
tasty.
soy.
Tasty again.
If you're eating liquefied natural gas,
With your soy.
I'm actually if you're alive,
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
I don't know. How dangerous
I'm pretty
is
sure
that?
liquefied natural gas would kill you.
Maybe. I mean, if you swallowed a match immediately afterwards, maybe.
I feel like eat it. You can't.
Wait, can you even
know how you
drink
can't
liquefied natural gas? Doesn't it have to be compressed?
No, that's compressed natural gas. That's CNG.
Okay.
No,
Thank
liquefied
you.
natural gas is something else. But I'm pretty sure it'd be like a kerosene situation. You can't drink kerosene. It's going to poison you.
I got you now. Okay.
But anyways, so they want to relieve some of the tariffs. An interesting point about this is that we're not going to relieve the tariffs that we put on them.
Yeah, which I found that really strange
very
and
odd.
weird.
That's what they say, though. They haven't done the negotiations yet. That's one thing they said wasn't going to happen. I don't know why,
Right.
but I guess we'll see.
And the tariffs were on what? Steel and aluminum,
Steel
right?
and aluminum.
And they were huge tariffs. too.
Massive.
So, yeah, that was
You'd
the
think
strangest thing to come
But
from this.
they're not relieving certain tariffs on us either, too. Like importing cars.
Right.
Imported cars and stuff like that. That we still have tariffs on cars and
Right.
and some of the other major
You're talking
tariffs.
about they had tariffs on our cars?
Yeah, they had tariffs on our
I
cars.
think
They're
we
not
were
gonna relieve.
relieving some of ours on their cars, though, right?
Or
Or we had threatened to go up, but now we're going to back off from that. I'm pretty sure that's what Trump said.
That you got more information than I do.
I don't know.
I'm not entirely sure.
Trump throws
But
tariffs out.
Tariffs like they're
trying to feed the chickens grain.
it's like
or
he's at a
something.
Mardi Gras parade. And for you Northerners, if there are any of you, that's a celebration. I'm not gonna get into it. Anyways, so do you think that the reason this has occurred is because of Trump's tariffs? Do you think he kind of you think his
pressure?
bullying tactic worked?
Okay, so
pushing
did
back at the
Trump
bully, if you will.
bullying actually create this?
Yeah, because didn't you tell me earlier that didn't Obama try to open some dialogue about
Yeah, so that
relieving
was
tariffs?
Oh man, was that the 2013?
The 2013, I believe, is when it
I
happened.
can't remember if it was 2015 or 2013. I think it was 2013 when they were talking about kind of lowering some tariffs with the transatlantic
And didn't that not
free
happen?
trade. I mean, apparently no. So we've been going 5 more years.
Do you think that the pushing back at the bully tactic worked?
It could have. Okay, it might have. It might have.
Or do you think
an
that Trump
amount.
just has that charisma?
I don't know if I would say bullying people with tariffs is charisma.
Okay, but is it really bullying someone with tariffs if they put tariffs on us first and his intention, which I believe it wasn't, that you don't necessarily know, and I don't know, but I have my suspicions that his intention was, I put tariffs on them because they put tariffs on me, and ultimately we're going to agree to both drop our tariffs.
Right. And
Like I think that was his goal.
I could see that. I could see that being part of the goal if you want to say that that's what he was pushing toward. Sometimes it's hard to understand what his goal is just because.
He doesn't really make it clear.
Yeah, he just goes,
this
"Tariffs
is my
are great.
goal.
The tariffs are the greatest thing ever. They're huge.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you all the facts." That's the worst Donald Trump. That's
All
worse
the
than
tariff
Shapiro's
facts.
Donald Trump.
Mine's the worst. Don't even play. Okay, so
Mine's so much worse.
so that could be. I think there might be a combination. So it's part of that. It's part of what I talked about with maybe they looked because they couldn't get as much soybean from South America because China's buying into that
Yeah.
because of U.S. tariffs.
You
Maybe
think
they
that
said
Trump
this was
kind of just pushed the LNG on them, like, hey, if you're going to get the soy, you got to take the LNG too?
maybe, but I mean, which that would be strange because that means Trump's tariffs on China made the EU want to drop their tariffs on importing soybeans, which is very strange. And I don't know if that's something he could have planned for, which I don't think it is, but it could be.
Well,
I mean, he could be a genius. I'll put it to you that way. He could be a little bit of a genius, but there could be other factors
I just
involved.
don't
I think it's a grouping of factors.
I don't see how, and this is a sidetrack to an extent. People say that they don't know if Trump's a genius or if he's lucky and crazy or whatever. I honestly don't see how you could get in life where he is, even with extremely wealthy parents like he had. I don't see how you could get in life where he has without being just incredibly smart.
Okay.
Also, he's
So at
bragged
least
about
have
his
some
IQ
smarts,
several
right.
times. So, he actually does have an IQ that's relative. He's got the second highest IQ of any president we've ever had.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I never seen.
I believe
anything about
Adams
IQ
was the
stuff.
first.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And he's up over I think he's near the 160 mark, which is decently
That's
high.
interesting. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think he's actually a smart guy. I don't think he's always going to make the right decisions. Just being a genius doesn't mean you make all the right decisions.
Right.
But I think that I really think he has an edge on what he's doing. I don't think he's a dumb guy that got lucky
Okay.
and you can't make it to be
Right.
president after owning, he's a multi-billionaire, owns tons of real estate, and you can't just get there by accident. You can't
Right.
take $1 million. I know that's a lot of money, but to take $1 million and turning it into several $billion,
Right. Right.
that's a big deal. I can't.
Not easy.
I would try to multiply my money, and it's not going that well. So,
Amazon takes it all.
Bezos, man, that guy.
Okay.
beast.
So yeah, I think
Stealing
in
all my
conclusion
money
for me,
and giving me
it's-
stuff for it.
I would say some Trump and some global markets. Mix it all together, and we had a
I think
perfect
I
little
think that he
agreement.
was smart, played it well. Maybe he didn't intend for everything to happen. Maybe he got lucky and
Maybe.
played things well. I think
Okay.
that some of his decisions were smart, and it ended up working out in his favor, even the things he didn't really anticipate happening.
okay.
So I think it was.
Do you think
a
the
good mixture of
steel and
both.
aluminum ones will eventually, once they agree
I-
to some other things?
I hope so. I can't
I
say
would
that.
hope so
I
too,
don't
yeah.
know. I think that maybe his intention in the negotiations, we'll have to see. It'll be soon, so we'll know soon. But I think that he intends on offering to drop them if they agree to drop other tariffs on us as well. I think that's probably his intention.
Okay.
I think that's why it would make sense to me if that's why he said initially we're not going to drop them, because they already agreed to drop soy and LNG.
Right.
Like that's agreed upon.
Right.
So if he just automatically says, okay, now we're going to drop both of the major tariffs we have on you, he's got no leverage anymore. So
more
I think
leverage,
his
right.
intention was we're not going to drop them. Then they go to negotiations. He says, okay, we're going to drop them if you drop these other major tariffs as
Right.
well.
And that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that him and his administration are kind of calculating this, and they're saying my hope is that when he says tariffs are the greatest thing ever, that he means
They're a good tool.
they're great. Yeah, they're a good tool for bringing everybody with their tariffs to the table.
Yeah.
And then eliminating
Eliminating
them
all of them
piece
together.
by piece,
Yeah.
like equal elimination until
Yeah.
we get to a better free trade.
If we had no
global free
tariffs, man, what a free trade world that would be. It'd be beautiful.
Right.
No tariffs whatsoever.
Lower
man.
prices.
So low.
So low.
I mean,
how low
seriously.
can you go?
I mean, some of the things you pay for, it's like
No, yeah.
massively influenced by the tariffs.
Right.
So
Yep.
yeah, that'd be
Alright.
pretty cool.
Okay.
So I think that's probably the intention. I hope that's the intention. We'll see soon with because if he does what I said, if he goes in and says, okay, we've got these on you, you drop these on us, we'll drop these on you, then it kind of shows us this must have been his plan and all along with Canada, Mexico, China.
Right. Well, that's what I'm
And the
saying.
EU.
That was the most positive thing I took from this. Because if this was the direction it took with the EU already, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
hopefully this is the direction that it's going to go with China and
Yeah.
Canada and other.
And honestly,
countries.
I was incredibly surprised that it happened as fast as it did with the EU.
me too. I wasn't expecting to hear
I
this
didn't.
kind of
I
news
didn't
already.
expect to see anything until like last year, like the last year in office, and I mean with an 8-year term. I mean, I didn't expect it to happen until
Well,
long
we've
down
been
the
in the
road.
tariff war for 7 years now. It's finally coming.
It's finally
to an end.
coming to fruition.
Soybeans for everyone. They're huge.
Okay, maybe your Trump is worse than mine.
I told you. I'm going to prove it. All right.
One of these days.
So we talked about things, free trade, free markets.
Well, the word "free" was in there a few times.
Let's talk about the opposite of free.
San Francisco.
San Francisco, California,
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Not only opposite when it comes to real estate, living costs, prices, and things like that, but free when it comes to like living in a free
Society.
state. Yeah, a free society and a free state. So San Francisco, they like to ban things. And San Francisco likes to, take away a child's chocolate milk.
Man, when I was a kid in elementary school, I went to a private school from middle school on, so
Okay.
that's the only time that I had like a cafeteria with
Right.
food provided and stuff. Dude, chocolate milk was the thing I looked forward to every day.
And it would ruin your day if you got to the end of the line.
And it was only 2%.
And there was only white
That's all
milk.
they had. White milk and orange juice.
Right.
I hated the orange juice in the cartons. Was like, because there were days when that's all you had left. Because, the other kids had gone first and
Right.
everything. And now all there was the orange juice. Man, those were bad days.
Yeah.
That was a hard day as a kid.
Strangely, things just taste better in plastic. It's like the absence of anything that is
Okay,
plastic.
I have
other
to
than,
slightly disagree.
really, I can't stand like the orange juice in the carton.
Okay,
I hated it
I
because
didn't
I tasted the carton.
I didn't like the orange juice in the carton,
Okay.
but I completely preferred the chocolate milk in the carton over chocolate milk in a bottle.
Okay. Well, let me tell you what they had when I was in school. I don't know if they still have them or not. Chocolate or the milk came in little pillow bags of plastic pillow bags.
Did you go to school in Canada?
I went to public school over here in Caddo Parish.
Are you sure you
and
weren't
it was
in Canada?
a bag, and you poked your straw in the bag, and you drank your milk out of your bag, and you got to squeeze it like this.
That's
And you drank. Well, I would use a straw, so I was like, but that's what. And to me, it tasted more like what it was supposed to taste like.
I think
if I tasted it in
I don't
paper,
I don't
it didn't.
disagree that you could taste the carton.
Right.
I just think that for some reason the flavor mixed with the carton
was
wasn't
good.
It was good to me somehow.
Okay.
I don't know
All right,
how.
I gotcha. All right. So it was there. You were just like,
I was like, it works.
paper.
Oh yeah, that chocolate paper.
So San Francisco's done other things like banning yummy, delicious Tutti Frutti vapor flavors.
Oh man, I'm gonna miss those.
Probably anything that has to do with soft drinks, fatty foods, carbohydrates,
Hey, you know those
calories.
things that you're allowed to do as a free American?
Yeah.
Don't go to San Francisco.
Can't do them in San Francisco.
It's not. You're not allowed to.
We like to call.
Hey, you know how you said you drank through a straw as a kid?
Uh
Don't go to San Francisco.
huh. Yeah.
No
so,
more straws.
Unfortunately, now I'm gonna have my
Yeah, what are you gonna
yummy
do when
plastic
you're
pillow.
You can't even get into
but
it.
now I have to poke a
gotta get
paper
a
straw into it, and now I'll taste my paper straw, so it's pointless
You
now.
can't-
Just give me
good
the
luck
carton.
getting a paper straw through a plastic bag. You have to use a pocket knife and just kind of
Just like
Aim for
kinda
your face.
slit it. Okay.
Bear Grylls
so, yes, there's been much upheaval about plastic straws.
Yes. All right. But there's some more ridiculous things going on.
Right. So San
In
Francisco.
San Francisco. This has to be. I think this is more ridiculous than the straw thing, honestly.
Yeah, this is pretty. To me, they're just all on par with insanity.
Well, the thing about the straw thing is it didn't start in San Francisco. It kind of was a weird New York to Seattle to kind of made its rounds, and then it kind of just settled in San Francisco where they actually passed legislation. I think Seattle did too, but this is localized. What we're about to talk about,
right?
It's less. So it's a little more ridiculous to me that they would just. It's dumb.
So let's do a little story. Your name is Johnny.
Pretty close, yeah.
All right, that sounds like a white privilege name. I have to pick something else. Your
My
name
name
is Rafiki.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, and
that's not
Rafiki.
Can I appropriate that name, please?
Sure, go for
Rafiki.
it. So your name's Rafiki. You get hired for, let's say, Google hires you. But you're looking to work for Google, and part of Google's perks are like, you're like, man, I might work for IBM, but Google's like, no, you come work for us. You're going to be at our San Francisco campus, and you're going to get free meals at our cafeteria, so you don't even have to leave work. Like, we have some fun floors where you can play.
They got ping pong. They got pool.
But you get to eat here for free too. We got
I'm
this
pretty
large
sure there's
assortment.
a slide from the second floor to the first floor cafeteria.
Probably, yeah. And so you're like, you know what? Forget IBM.
Yeah.
Rafiki's going to work at Google.
Rafiki's going to
and
Google.
Eat free lunch every day. Well, not anymore. Well, not quite not anymore, but they want to change it.
They're trying.
So, boo-hoo, all the little vegan restaurants, I don't know if they're vegan or not,
Most
but
likely.
all the little vegan restaurants in San Francisco's, I guess, downtown or like a Silicon Valley area or whatever you want to call it, they're all complaining because, no one's coming to eat there anymore.
We got to call out some names specifically, though, because this is too ridiculous to just let slide
all right,
for anyone. All right,
we will.
We got, how do you pronounce that? Asha Safai. Safai?
Sure, go for it.
Okay, and Aaron Peskin. You two, if you ever see this, are ridiculous. All right, so you can continue now.
Okay.
I just had to get their names out there.
Okay, and so what they did is they listened to these complaints from the restaurants that they're losing money. They're not going to make it because no one wants to give up their free cafeteria food where they work and come spend money at their little vegan place.
Yeah.
For lunchtime.
Okay, there are two factors on this that I guarantee are just like, these are the obvious things that are really wrong with it, obviously.
Okay.
One, their food, I guarantee, is way overpriced because they're right next to Google. So they're like, we're right next to Google.
Yeah.
We can jack our prices up. Plus, we're vegan, so we're hipsters. So we're going to jack up our prices and give you less food anyways. And then two, you choose your location, man. You don't just, like, Google's been in San Francisco for a very long time. They've had that office for a very long time. Those restaurants are probably not as old as Google. They chose to be near Google because they thought that would get them more business.
Right.
That was their mistake.
Right.
All right. So, like, the fact that they're next to Google, that's not Google's fault.
Right.
You don't punish Google for them making bad location decisions.
Right.
Isn't that's the saying whenever you're opening a business? Location, location, location. You got to pick the right location.
Right.
You don't open up next to somewhere where people aren't going to buy food. That's a dumb decision.
Right. Hey, look, we know what we can move at? Over here, they actually have free food they give to their employees, but they don't want that. Let's open it over there. They'll come to us instead.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
And then let's
whatsoever.
charge them just ridiculous prices
Right.
and give them like a third of the food they would normally get
then-
for normal prices.
And we have delicious things on our menu like tofu patties on a tofu bun with tofu sauce.
we refuse to sell meat because meat is murder.
So
it's
the
just-
thing is, hold on, they complained and everything, but the problem with the complaint is now the government of San Francisco is like, oh, that's a good point. Maybe we need to ban cafeterias in the workplaces.
That's the
You don't
dumbest
want to
thing.
support your local restaurants? We're going to make you support your local restaurants.
You know what they're going to
It's like,
start
what?
doing?
What?
Packing a lunch.
Packing a lunch.
They're not going to go to first of all, they're going to be mad. I would be.
Right, yeah.
I'd be like, you can't make me.
I wouldn't
I'm gonna
go in
pack a
spite
lunch.
of it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to pack a lunch. And two, I don't want your food. It's garbage.
Right, yeah.
If I preferred your food, I'd have
would
gone
go
to your
there.
restaurant
Right.
instead of eating at Google.
They think somehow that just because the Google food is free, that's what's making the decision.
Yeah,
There's probably some decision in that, but
it's Google. They probably have like world-class chefs
working
in their cafeteria.
Oh man, but the problem isn't who.
Either that, or
this,
they
who's
just like
that.
order Domino's
It's
every
that
day.
San Francisco's politicians and governmental bodies thinks that they can make that kind of decision for people.
Yeah,
They
that's
think that they could say, "Oh, restaurants are hurting. They complain to us. Ban it."
It's there.
Ban
But that's what
cafeterias.
San Francisco is, man. It's like the great socialist experiment.
Right.
They just keep trying
That's
to
not even
push-
socialist anymore. That's communist. That's basically San Francisco seizing the means of production. They say you can't produce this. You can only get things produced what we support. These restaurants are what the government supports. You can't eat that free food. So they are. That's the means of production. They're basically telling you which produce you can actually partake in.
Yeah.
Which is communist.
And the way I see it, I think I told you this earlier. If you own a building or you're leasing it or whatever, and you have the right permits and you have the health code and you have the industrial kitchen and you have the right people working in it that are certified or whatever you have to have that kitchen, you should be if I were renting a building just for me to sleep, if it was my apartment and I wanted to have an industrial kitchen in there with a world-class chef serving me in cafeteria style, I should be fully well allowed to do that and waste my money in whatever way I want to. That's not their decision to make. That's what bugs the mess out of me. This is America still. San Francisco, you are part of America. Stop acting.
Barely.
Stop acting like Venezuela. Leave us alone. Just leave your citizens alone. Let them be Americans. I promise you, the population's gonna drop. Like it's gonna drastically drop in the next couple of years if they don't slow their roll. It already has been.
Move around. Yeah.
It's already been dropping.
Yeah.
The only population there that's growing is the homeless population.
Right.
And that's because you're allowed to poop wherever you
Homeless
want.
population. Feces
And
population.
hit up that heroin needle population.
Needle population.
But you know what
Those are
population's
growing
going down?
exponentially.
You got two populations going down, man. You got the good, normal, middle class, and wealthier citizens, and the straw populations. They're both going way down.
Straws. But yeah, so I'm just disappointed that
That this is allowed to
California,
happen.
cities in California continue to
It
go down this
amazes me
path
that-
of complete governmental control
Yeah.
over every little thing in your life.
It amazes me that they're allowed to do this.
Right.
Like, how is this not a constitutional
Well,
issue?
people keep voting for these types of representatives for their area. I mean, that's the problem. Is if you're going to keep voting leftist people in to these positions, it's going to come back to bite you. Like the thing with Seattle when they passed that head tax, where like places like Amazon was going to get taxed per employee they had if it was over a certain amount. They elected all those leftist people to do that, but then they got such an uproar, so much protest from the people that worked at these places that they actually backed down from it.
Yeah.
And it's like, now look, you almost got bit by your own voting.
Did you hear
habits.
Did you hear about when Seattle passed the $15 an hour minimum wage? They did that for, I think it was only like 3 or 4 months, but they passed a law that you had to pay $15 an hour minimum wage. I'm not going to say all because I don't know for sure, but most of the small businesses closed down and the big businesses just left. And then Seattle was basically like, well, crap. And then they were like, okay, you know what? Minimum wage is average. I think it's at 8 now or something like that, or $7.50 or $7.45.
It's probably 8 something.
Probably 8 something.
I
I
wouldn't
would
think
think
it'd be lower.
But
than 8
it's
something.
not 15 anymore. They
Right.
dropped it drastically, and
Right.
then the small businesses came back, and the big businesses came back.
Oh, this government control every little aspect of your life.
So they did test. They tested the $15 an hour minimum wage, and guess what? It didn't work.
Didn't work.
And I'm pretty sure that during that, even like that short period of time, even their local products, the reason those businesses went out of business is the reason you would expect with, commonsensical math, is that whenever you start paying your employees more, you start charging more for your products.
Right.
Whenever you start charging more for your products, people stop buying your products
Right.
because they can get it cheaper at Walmart.
Right.
And then you have to close up.
Right.
So that's what happened.
Right.
So
Well,
it doesn't
just
work.
another example of how government control is bad
is-
for you. It's
Amen.
bad.
Small government, baby.
All right. So thanks, San Francisco, for giving us something else to talk about that's absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah. Just
So-
another. And
Well, since we're going down the drain of California, let's go down to the absolute pit of feces and negativity and derangement in America.
Okay, well, you think you're there, but we got one more level.
yeah,
after
we
that.
got one more to go past
Yeah.
San Francisco.
Well, we're on the-
when you're
we're on
going
that-
down the pipe of
We're gonna take a break right here, and then we'll get back down into
right,
it.
right.
So, segue, talking about that toilet. That's our segue. Twitter. There's at least rumors and good reason to believe that they've been shadow banning more conservative talking head, people,
Right.
just conservatives with enough followers, to have a
Right.
voice on Twitter. What do you think of that? Do you think they're actually doing it, first
Well,
of all? Because
I know they're doing it. There was some reports out either today or yesterday that there was actual Republican elected officials getting shadow banned on Twitter.
Okay,
now.
see, I know what you're talking about, and I have the article right there. I don't want to open it at this moment, but
Okay.
and you have to take this with a big old grain of salt because it's Slate.
Mm-hmm.
But what they're claiming is that wasn't technically shadow banning, because what you're talking about is what they did was make it hard to search for certain representatives. It didn't autofill the name.
Right.
And whenever you typed in a name, their name didn't always pop up first.
Right.
So that's technically not shadow banning, because what shadow banning is, whenever you post, you can still see it on your page, but no one else can. That's a shadow ban.
Mm-hmm.
So they were arguing that technically that's not a shadow ban and it's not evidence of shadow banning. But there have been other people coming forward with claims of shadow banning on them and their friends and other conservative speakers. Big, I don't think it's happened, but a good example would be like someone like Steven Crowder. I don't think it's happened to him. I don't know for sure, but that kind of talking head.
Well, do you think making search results skewed, isn't that just as bad though?
I'm
So
not saying it's okay. I'm just
you're
saying
just arguing the term
that
itself.
technically it's not
Okay.
shadow banning. It's not good. It's obviously
Well, yeah,
a
it's still,
move
right.
against conservatives
Right.
on their platform. But I do have to say, I hate it. I think it's stupid. But it's a private platform. They're allowed to do whatever they want.
I mean, yeah, they are allowed to, but
It's gonna hurt
the
them.
public is allowed. I mean, yeah. I just what was it today that Facebook and Twitter had or today or yesterday had
Facebook
massive
dropped
drops
massively.
Yeah, Twitter had one as well though. Twitter's
Really?
dropped as well. Yeah,
I know
because
that Facebook dropped so drastically that Mark Zuckerberg went from the third richest man on the planet to the sixth.
wow,
Which, I mean, whoa.
double.
He's no
Double
longer
drop.
he's no longer worth what was it? I think he was worth 86 point something billion. Now he's worth like 40 or 70 something billion. Whoa. Man, that must suck.
Right.
Hate that for him.
But I mean,
No,
there's,
but it
there's
was a
loss of
drastic
faith in
drop.
the
Like there was a
platforms.
I think it was $18 billion drop in Facebook's value because of I forgot what he did exactly, but it had something to do with
Right.
just being a very untrustworthy
Well,
person,
I mean,
basically.
what I've heard from about with Facebook and with Twitter is having a problem of actually showing how they can make money on Twitter. Because, I mean, when a bunch of Twitter mobs just shout people down, you're not making any money off of that. You're not making any advertisement revenue or anything.
Yeah.
And then Facebook, because they're getting so strict on what they can put ads on and do that they're actually losing money, or they're making less revenue per
Well, that, and he actually came
time
out
period.
and said that they were going to start trying to, what did he say? I think he said he was going to start trying to censor the news that gets what people, basically he's going to censor you and news sources
Right.
so that you don't see something that they deem to be fake news.
Right.
So that's just saying, that's dangerous.
Right.
To say that you're going to start actually censoring and controlling the speech of your
Right.
users.
And I mean, yeah, just
it's
think
supposed to be an
about it.
open platform.
You could be sitting there right now saying, well, yeah, they need to do that. They need to make sure people aren't lied to. But think about it. What gives them the right to determine what fake news is? What if they say the color yellow is actually the color orange now? And anybody who says yellow is yellow, that's fake news. Do you agree with that? No. So the problem is...
And let's be completely honest. He's a California liberal, so anything that's, anti-Trump is not going to be fake news, regardless of how much of a lie it is and all that kind of stuff. Anything conservative is going to be more likely to be flagged as hate speech, and I think he even said he was going to regulate hate speech and that kind of stuff. It's just, how do you get to determine what hate speech is?
Well, the only thing,
gives you the right?
the only thing that explains all of this is that all of this is leading to the banning of all guns so Zuck can lead the lizard people
Oh yeah.
and the hostile takeover of America.
With the Illuminati.
Right, yeah. It has to happen first.
Now,
so
but
all
here's the
this
question.
is just leading down that road.
What do you think that Zuckerberg is a high-ranking Illuminati lizard person, or do you think that he's one of the just like the worker bees?
No,
basically?
he's a worker. Yeah, he takes orders from
so you
somebody.
think like the Rothschilds and them are the head lizard people?
Right, yeah. But Zuck, he was a guy who went to human social interaction school. And he was the valedictorian.
What are you
And they're like,
talking
you know
about?
what? We're going to put you out there and you're going to run this.
Have you seen him act socially?
That's the best lizard people can do. He's the best that they can do.
Are you sure you didn't just C's get degrees that class?
He was the valedictorian.
Are you sure?
Of
Well, that
human
doesn't.
social interaction school.
Well,
They're like,
C's get degrees.
so
he could still be the valedictorian if they're all getting
C's get
low
degrees.
C's, and he's getting that C plus because he's got some. Did you see him on trial?
Yes, I did see him on trial.
It was.
That's how we know he's a
scary.
lizard person. A lizard person robot.
Robot.
He's
lizard
actually
person.
not. He's actually
He's
an
infiltrated the
automaton
he's
created by the lizard people.
No, he infiltrated the lizard people. The Illuminati created him.
The Illuminati
to
are
infiltrate-
artificial intelligence.
Yes,
and
to
they infiltrated the lizard people.
And now the lizard people think that he's a real lizard person. I feel like
So
this sidetrack is
so
getting a little
Zuck
crazy.
is a triple agent because he's
Yes.
a Illuminati
Lizard person human.
automaton pretending to be
Yeah.
a spy for the lizard people,
yes,
pretending to be a spy for humanity.
yes.
Okay.
But
We
where
fixed it. We solved
where does George Soros fit in?
it. Everything.
Everywhere.
He is the puppet.
He's the puppet master.
I'm not sure though. Is he the lizard people puppet master, or is he the
Illuminati?
the AI Illuminati puppet master? I mean, he is like 100
think
years
that he's-
old, so
hey,
he's probably
you know,
not a human. He's or lizard person.
You've
He's
heard
probably
of-
artificial intelligence.
You've heard of the spaghetti monster in the sky?
Yes,
That's George Soros.
that's George Soros. Okay, so he was the original.
Yes.
So really, he was the birth mother that gave birth to AI and the lizard people.
He just basically all of whatever's on Earth, the lizard people, the Illuminati,
Right.
and us few that are humans.
Uh-huh.
It's all an experiment created by George Soros to see
okay.
It's like he's playing a giant game of Risk with himself.
So really, the dinosaurs are still here. We just can't see them behind their invisible force fields.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. All right. I think we fixed that
I think we
topic.
cleared it all up.
All right, what's next?
Now that we've got that all cleared up, let's move on to a topic that I actually
this
wrote
is
about
down
this
that
one.
toilet we were talking
This
about.
is the bottom of the
I
toilet.
was jumping the gun.
This is the septic tank of humanity right
the
here.
septic tank. Okay.
This is and like whenever it's so full that it's like clogging and it starts going back up it. Yeah,
Right.
it's like this
And-
is that.
And our reporting of it is that good bacteria that you buy at Home Depot and
Yeah, that
you
you
pour
pour
down
down
in your
it.
septic
Yeah.
tank to clean it out. So here we
So
go. We're
basically,
cleaning out your
what
septic
you're
tank,
saying
America.
is we're eating poop right now.
We're poop eaters.
We're poop
You're
eaters.
welcome.
We do it for you.
Yeah.
We eat the poop
We
so
eat
you don't
poop
have
for
to.
you.
Yeah. So, anyways, you'll understand in a second. Pedophilia in Hollywood. It's running rampant. And if you remember, a couple months ago, I was talking to you and Jerry, your wife, and I called this. I don't know if you remember that very well. I was texting you,
Yeah, you
and I
called
said
it
it
a
was
while
whenever
back.
Canada passed that legislation.
Right.
I knew this was coming, man. I didn't know it happened so soon.
Right.
Honestly, I didn't. Like I was thinking 5 years down the line.
Right.
This is 2 months, and it's already like it's hitting a scary point already. Very scary point. They are normalizing pedophilia in Western culture. It's becoming, and it's not okay yet. You still get called out from even people on the left, but it's different. They try to use comedy to mask their tricks. You know, they try to sugarcoat their desires in comedy. And the scary thing is you have the people that are, you know, because a good example is James Gunn. He tweeted some very inappropriate
Tell everybody who
pedophilic-
James Gunn is.
James Gunn is the director that directed both of the Guardians of the Galaxies, and he was contracted to direct the third one. And Disney fired him from that position
Right.
for some tweets that he had tweeted a few years back. They kind of dug him up. Someone dug him up, but they were really bad tweets.
Yeah, it was pretty sick.
He tried to make them seem like jokes, I think.
Well,
but
yeah,
they weren't
it was
good.
supposed to be. It was supposed to be like abrasive comedy. Like, man, I'm so cool. I say like horrendously creepy stuff because I'm cool, but it's funny. They're gonna laugh.
Either that, or it wasn't really comedy. And he
Well,
was
no,
trying
it
to
really
make look
wasn't.
like comedy.
No, it wasn't funny.
But he got fired from Disney. So, but there was a lot of backlash against Disney for firing him.
Right.
And that's what's scary. That's the part that really scares me, is
Right.
that the amount of backlash against Disney is more than the amount of backlash against James Gunn for having
Right.
tweeted those tweets in the first place. And they were not like the most moderate tweet that I saw, and this is paraphrasing, went something like, the best part about getting raped is whenever the rapist stops, because then you're like, oh yeah, this is what not being raped feels like. That was the most moderate of his
Right.
tweets that I saw.
Most of the stuff was
Like, that's-
crazier than that.
It was so much worse. That was the only one I saw that didn't involve children, first of all.
Right.
And most of them were molesting jokes and raping jokes. It's just not okay, obviously, to do that, to say that kind of thing, even in a joking way. That's just, he's not a comedian, first of all. He's a director, not a comedian. So I guess as a comedian, you get certain leeway on your stand-up and stuff like that. I feel like that probably wouldn't have been too far for pretty much anyone.
Right.
But there's a line you shouldn't cross, and he crossed it. But the fact that he got more that Disney got more backlash than he did scares me, because as I mentioned in my article, there are two theories that I think that people in power try to use to manipulate populations of people, and that is one. The first step, if you can make them laugh at it, they will accept it. So if you can make jokes and people actually laugh at those jokes, then eventually those people will accept the thing they're laughing at. And then two, if you accept it in moderation, the next generation will accept it in excess.
Right.
So if we make it okay for, my parents if my parents are okay with, pedophilia in moderation, it's okay, it's just a joke, it's not that, there aren't really that many people out there like that,
Right.
then my generation supposedly would say,
Accept it
I know
completely.
3 pedophiles and it's a perfectly normal thing.
Right.
So they're trying to, even if it is really rare for that to be a thing, which apparently it seems like it's not, but that's the news for you, so you never really know. But it's just really scary where we're at with the pedophilia being normalized in American culture.
Right. Was that you that shared that TEDx talk with me?
Yes.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
I forgot about that.
Because that kind of creeped me out a little
yeah,
bit.
it should have.
Yeah.
It's a TED Talk. I need to link that one in here with it. Thanks for mentioning that. This woman whose name, like I said, I forgot about it, so I don't remember her name or anything, but she spent a good, 30 minutes talking about...
No, it wasn't that long.
20-something minutes?
I think it was maybe 20 or under.
Yeah.
It might have been 15 to
But
20.
she spent a good little bit of time talking about how pedophilia is just a sexual orientation.
Sexual orientation.
It's not
Right.
it's not wrong if you don't act on it. It's just a sexual orientation.
Right.
And now they've given themselves pedophiles have given themselves a name. I don't like that. MAPS, which is minor attracted peoples. So
it's LBGTQ maps.
either that, or I think they, with the LGBTQ, I think they just want to add a P. So I think
Right,
it's just
for-
LGBTQP for pedophiles.
Right.
But they've given their culture, they have a
LGBTQ
name now.
Is all consenting adults.
Yes.
P is not consenting
Exactly.
adults.
But see, that's the thing about the Canadian legislation that we referred to
Right.
earlier, is that, did we talk about that on one of these podcasts?
Mm-mm.
No?
No, you didn't
Okay,
go
so
into
Canada
detail.
passed some legislation that really affects the fostering process, adopting children. If a child claims, and this is any age under 16, so it could be a 3-year-old.
Right.
If a child claims to be a gender that they are not, if a boy comes up to you and says, "Hey, I'm a girl," and you say, "No, honey, you're a boy. Let's cut your hair and whatever boy things, put you in pants and not a skirt, if you got me, Dean, you distracted me. Anyways, if you don't recognize them as the gender that they call themselves, it's a mark against you on the fostering process, and you're most likely, apparently it's one of the deciding factors. You're most likely not getting that child if you disagree with them about their gender. And the problem with that is you're giving them authority over a sexual part of their life, and they don't understand that. And so it's a step towards giving them the authority over deciding whether they want to or can have sex, period, and then deciding at that point how old of a person they want to have sex. It's just steps in the same direction,
like
a
this
scary
5-year-old he can tell if he's a boy or a girl, so he can probably tell if he's ready to have sex or not.
And that's what actually sparked that's what a couple of months ago I was talking to you about. That's what that's when I saw this start to come, was whenever I saw that legislation get passed. It just looked like steps in this direction to me, and I'm sad to say that I was correct about that. It's really frightening, honestly. If something's not done about this, it's not okay. Like terrible things are going to happen. Terrible things are going to happen. Which there's enough of an uproar against it from the. I'm not even going to say like it's a right or left issue either. I think it's just a sane human person against the insane people that are for some reason okay with this. There's enough of an uproar from the sane people right now that I really think that we're going to be able to get a handle on it. I hope that I'm correct about that, because Pizzagate is a big deal right now.
I remember you shared one video with me where there was like some kind of pedophile rally somewhere. And they hired some woman's 7-year-old daughter, 8-year-old daughter to dance on stage with a bunch of dudes wearing BDSM attire. Like I was like,
it was a 7-year-old girl.
Who is this mom?
And she was twerking in between them, and they were all dancing around her.
And how is that acceptable to do in public? How is And what state was that in?
Probably I don't remember. But if I had to guess,
if I was assuming,
if I had to guess,
I know where it was.
It's one of the coasts. Know.
I would assume one of the toilets. East toilet, west toilet. West toilet is.
West toilet is probably the bigger toilet.
Yeah, that's big.
It's a big
toilet.
old toilet. I would imagine that's what it was. That's imagine. I'd imagine.
But I mean, that kind of thing, those kind of things being acceptable is disgusting. I mean,
no matter where you are.
The mom. I mean, what do you do for money? Because she was obviously getting paid, so that's what you would do. Your
would
kid
sell
has a
your,
price
you
tag.
would sell your
basically.
daughter. You would sell the innocent sexuality of your daughter that doesn't understand what's going on for just some cash. You don't deserve to be a parent. That's another thing about this movement too. I've yet to see parents consenting to it, thankfully. So that's the next step that I'm worried is going to start happening, is parents saying, "Oh no, it's okay for my child to make that decision."
Read an article on Vox or something, like one of those opinion editorials that are like, "How I love my kid more by letting them decide
to have sex with this
40-year-old man." Yeah, it's like, what?
I'm scared that that's going to be the next step.
Yeah, because I mean the trans step is already insane. When you see an article like that, you're like.
I think we talked about once I think we actually did talk about this on the podcast, was that boy that's starting an online dating service for trans children.
Children
he's
dating.
He's like 8 years old, and he's a boy that's a drag queen that's starting a website, a dating website. But it all just seems like it's sliding in the same direction. I'm really hoping it doesn't fall that far.
And see, that's disturbing in itself, but the thing that makes it more disturbing is it's not a 18-year-old guy making an adult trans dating website, or a 12-year-old kid making a hangout like Facebook, but it's for trans kids. No, it's an 8-year-old kid making a dating site for trans.
And you can't be, I don't remember what the age restriction was. I know it's under 16. I want to say it's under 13 was the age restriction on it for his website.
But how low does it go?
There is no low.
Yeah, see, that's what's disturbing. A 12-year-old kid and a 5-year-old kid, that's That's just it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
But my praying we don't get to this point. If we get to the point where parents are consenting, what kind of a person do you have to be? How demented, how deranged do you have to be to think that it's okay for you to let your child? You don't even give your children the talk at that age. Like how, and you're going to let them make decisions about sexuality. They haven't hit puberty yet.
Right.
They don't know what sex is. They
Right.
don't, even if they understand, because at this point with technology and everything, they might know what the body parts are.
Right.
They don't understand it. There's no way they can understand it. So how do you, as an adult, not understand how horrifically terrible that is?
Right.
And right now, thankfully, I don't know of any cases of that I don't know of that being the case anywhere in Western culture. No, and in other cultures, it's kind of been practiced for several hundred years, but that's more religious than anything else. We won't talk about that. But as an adult, how do you make that decision that it's okay for my child to do unspeakable things with an adult man? That just terrible.
Right.
I'm hoping we don't get to a point where I hear things about
culture or religious, and I think earlier you said something about Western culture or Western civilization.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting is this kind of a recurrence of old West, because you got to think pedophilia and stuff like that was acceptable in Western civilization culture way back in the day, like with Greece and places like that. That's
true.
Yeah. So
that is true. Like Sparta.
Right. Yeah.
They actually, in the Spartan culture, this is an interesting. I thought of this when I was writing my article earlier. Well, my iPad stopped working. But in Spartan culture, they would give each soldier a boy at, I want to say it was like 8 years old or something. Like it was a certain age that the boy would reach, and that boy would be given to a soldier. And whenever I first heard about it, it was like, oh, they hung out with the soldier all the time, and they trained them, and they made them into a warrior, which is cool. That's cool.
Right.
Turns out they were not only allowed to do whatever they wanted with this boy, they were encouraged to do certain things with these boys. And everyone knows that the Spartan army was like this incredible army. Guarantee you the reason they failed as a nation is a Christian point. God doesn't honor a nation that allows you to kill children or to defile children, which they were doing both of those things. And that is why the Spartan culture died. That's why Greece died. That's why Rome failed, is because they allowed in their culture to kill babies and to defile children.
Right.
You can't do those things.
You just kind of almost touched on the point I was saying. We're kind of coming back around in full circle to that old Western civilization way with lack of morals. But if you look, what's the one thing that kind of turned Western civilization in the right direction? And that's Judeo-Christian values.
Yes.
So Western civilization had the ideas of freedom, democracy, you're saying nationalism, all these things in Western civilization work together to kind of create a burgeoning society. But the thing that really took Western culture to the next level, other than problems we had in the Dark Ages, was Judeo-Christian values. Yeah. Judeo-Christian values created a stable culture, a moral culture, a selfless culture, a culture of together and community. And so now we're reverting back to that because we're losing Judeo-Christian values as an impact on our culture.
And it's an interesting study if you look at there are people like Sam Harris and other prominent atheists, that they claim that the morals we could have gotten to naturally.
Right.
Well, if you look back in history, that simply isn't the case. If you look back, any culture that didn't have Judeo-Christian values they don't exist for the most part anymore, or I probably won't for very long.
Right.
Because their morals, they might have gotten to where we are at a point, but as they slid away from the Judeo-Christian values, their culture went downhill. That's just how it worked.
Right.
And it's kind of the scary thing is it's what it looks like it's happening here. But fortunately, I think that something like 73% of Americans still call themselves Christians. So technically, still a Christian nation. Hopefully we can revive that a little bit to
Right.
mean what it's supposed to mean.
And I don't think everybody's like a practicing strong Christian, but
Yeah.
at least when you say reflect on if you're a Christian, you can reflect on things like pedophilia
More likely
is
they're not.
wrong.
More likely they're not pedophiles. More likely they're not rapists.
Right.
More likely, they're not
Right.
far left, big government nuts.
Right. Right.
I know that one doesn't really fit in with the others, but it's in there. But I'm just, holding on to I'm praying
Right.
and holding on to those Judeo-Christian values, and we need to take care of this
Right.
dadgum
Nip it in the
pedophilia
bud.
thing before it gets too.
Right. Well, that's what happens when you start accepting everything.
Yeah.
Everyone's personal belief and opinion and view of life is equal, and that's not correct.
It's not true.
It's not correct.
No. If you think
There's
that
a
you
set
can,
of good and there's a set of bad.
yes. If you think that it's okay to defile a child, you do not have the same moral ground as
Right.
as anyone else that thinks that it's not.
Right.
That's
Right.
just a fact. Your values are not on par with the rest of us, sir.
Right. Right. Okay.
So that's glad we touched on that topic.
Yeah,
I really
think that's a
feel like
good
that was an important
public
one.
service announcement we just did out there.
I feel like
to make
that
sure
one
they
was
are
important.
aware. Yeah.
All right. So
Gross
let's
stuff.
do our last
Let's switch to a
segment.
happy note.
Yeah, something far less depressing. I don't know why it took like 5 minutes to say depressing.
Because it's depressing.
Dean, I need you to give us a countdown. Extremely late movie reviews.
All right.
All
so,
right.
you
You
know,
wanna
we've
announce
been
it so I
reviewing
can-
some movies,
Yeah.
stuff that you should seen already, but there could be a spoiler. So spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Just in case.
Hold on, Dean. Spoiler alert. All
Right
right.
there. This one isn't as old as some of the ones we've talked about, so this one might really legitimately be a spoiler.
It's been
A few
3
years.
years.
3 years.
Three. That's long enough.
Either a little over or a little under, but roughly
If you
3
haven't
years.
seen it
Some
in
people
3
might not have
years,
seen it.
I mean,
Look, you got the spoiler alert. So
we
now let's
spoiler
talk about
alerted
it.
A New Hope.
We verbed it. Spoiler alerted me.
We spoiler alerted Star Wars: A New
We're gonna
Hope.
spoiler alert everything.
I
No
know that's what I'm
telling.
saying. If we're gonna,
Someone could have found a nice rock to live under, and
That's
here
my
they
point.
are. They're here now.
we got to spoiler alert all of them.
Yeah. Okay. Show them what we
All
got.
right, this time we've got The Revenant.
The Revenant.
I hope they can read that. I don't know if they
I
can
don't
see
know.
that and read it.
What's going
I
to
don't
be
know where
great
the
is if
level
it's
is.
just chopped off.
Yeah, I
the
don't know.
top
I
of
don't.
it.
I
All
don't
they
remember
see is
exactly where the
a little
level
bit
is.
of the blue case.
Dean says it's visible, so
Okay,
we're
Dean,
good.
thank you, Dean.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Dean. So, excuse me. This week we are reviewing The Revenant. Now, this was your choice,
Right.
so I want you to start, and I
Right.
will jump in there
Right.
when I feel comfortable.
And so usually they're called extremely late movie.
They're called extremely late movie reviews, Russell.
Not because they're just old. It's because one of us has watched them way later than
Yeah.
they deserved. I just watched Revenant this year, so that's why I was saying.
Really?
Yeah,
I
I
didn't know
just
that.
watched it this year.
Dude, I
yeah.
watched it when it came out.
No, I just watched it this year, and so that's why I was saying it could still be a spoiler. So Revenant is this deeply emotional, fantastic. The cinematography, absolutely mind-blowing, of
incredible.
old American West, the kind of the struggles of against nature.
I'm pretty sure, doesn't it take place in Alaska? Isn't that the... I'm going to read the back. Hold on.
All right, let
You
him,
can
let
you
him
can
look.
continue talking.
But I'll say American Frontier then, instead of just American West.
Yeah.
American Frontier. And I love period films. They're kind of my favorite style of movie as a period film. And so this one does a great job at setting the scenes, the sets, the costumes, accents, actors. This does a fantastic job of really taking you to that time period. But the movie is not for the faint of heart. It is violent. It is gritty. It is depressing. It is hopeless. But it is one of those movies that changes. Like when you get done watching it, you can feel it all over your body that you just had an experience with deep, dark emotions and tragedy and kind of the triumph, the failures and triumph of man.
It's a deeply touching movie. It really gets to you. It doesn't just
Right.
you're not just watching a cool action movie.
Right.
You
Yeah.
feel it.
Yeah. There's going to be action.
And part
but
of the
it's-
reason for that is because of the excellent work of both Leonardo DiCaprio
Right.
and Tom Hardy, but especially
Tom Hardy.
Dude,
Tom
he
Hardy
killed it. Man.
Okay, so isn't this the movie that Leonardo DiCaprio won?
I believe he won an Oscar for it.
Yeah, for
Yes.
this movie. Yeah. So he finally got one for this movie.
Wait,
and he deserves it. And the thing is, though,
did he not get one? Sorry, this is
go ahead.
off, but was it Django Unchained? Did he not get one for that?
No, he did not.
Man, he deserved
Well, he
one for
was
that.
only
I'm
a
sorry.
supporting actor.
Dude.
Well, he still could have won one, but
But he killed it in that movie.
Yeah,
Anyways,
he
back
was
to
good.
the
Okay.
Revenant because that's not The
right.
Revenant.
So
That's
he's
not
the main
relevant.
actor in this one, and I can see how he deserves it because this movie. I need to look up again. I was trying to see how many nominations and things it actually won. Just everything about it was fantastic. But Tom Hardy was the best actor in this movie, not Leonardo DiCaprio. Tom Hardy plays
He won 3 Oscars.
3 Oscars. Tom Hardy plays one of the a deep villain in this movie.
Yeah.
And that's what impresses me. A little other spoiler alert here, real quick. If you haven't seen Infinity War, I'm going to give you a second.
I haven't.
You haven't seen Infinity War? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything about it. But Infinity War is good because what's the bad guy's name again?
Thanos.
Thanos.
I almost said
is
Thanos. Thanos.
zesty.
Zesty Thanos.
Zest
you know
freshness.
Thanos washes with that zesty.
Yeah, he uses that zest. You can tell it. He smells good.
Oh man, he smells. He probably
But
does
Thanos
too.
is such a deep villain.
Yeah.
Like you can get into his mind and kind of understand him.
Yeah.
It's the same way with Tom Hardy. He's deep. You can understand him, but he does things that you're like, I just couldn't do that.
Yeah.
That's pushing the envelope.
And also, he's given the protagonist or the antagonist character, but you can almost understand because what he's doing, he's not working. He's not just an evil dude.
Right.
You know, he's
right.
working. He's got
just
a
not an
reason for
evil
doing
guy.
what he's
Right.
doing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that gives his character a little more depth instead of just being an angry dude that's trying to kill
Right.
another dude.
Right.
It's got both of the characters.
It's-
It's well written too. We
Right.
kind of ignored that step, but the characters are very well written,
Right.
and they portrayed them perfectly.
Right.
It was that was a really good.
If I had something to compare it to, not when I watch it, it gives me the same kind of feeling of awe that I had watching Last of the Mohicans, which is another older one. Have you seen
haven't
Last?
seen it.
Oh, Last of the Mohicans.
I'll watch it, and we can review it.
This is the modern day Last of the Mohicans. Okay, it's got the grittiness, it's got the deep character, deep story, the setting, amazing. It's on par with that.
That's awesome.
So, but to me, Tom Hardy he's the show. You're
Yeah.
watching this movie to see Tom Hardy's acting.
Tom Hardy's
acting
really-
is this movie.
Really kills it in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, he steals the show.
And guess what?
What?
He didn't win an Oscar.
He didn't win an Oscar.
Which is very
Guess
sad.
who did win an Oscar?
Who?
Leo. Which, to be fair, though, it was his time.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was due for. He's been his time. They should have
Yeah.
gave him one a long time ago so they could get
Like
Tom
a
Hardy
decade
one
ago.
this time.
Yeah.
But like when I got done watching this movie, like the credits are going, and I'm like pulling out my phone, and I'm like, did Tom Hardy win an Oscar for Revenant? And it was like no, and I couldn't believe it. It blew my mind.
Leo got one. One of them was for hold on. Another one was another actor, Alejandro, and I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his last name. But another actor got an Oscar for that one, and then it won some other. It doesn't say on here, but some other.
I wonder if Tom Hardy was like
Oscar.
nominated though. But
I hope he was at least.
I wonder if
nominated,
he
'cause
was
seriously-
nominated as the main actor. Instead of the co-star.
Yeah.
And that's why he didn't win because they gave it to Leo. That's what I'm wondering now. I have to look it up.
Wait, Alejandro.
But
Oh no! Okay, no. Alejandro. Again, not gonna try to pronounce that. He was the. like the screenwriter or something.
Okay.
or
Well,
the
yeah, he
director.
deserved it then.
He might
Yeah,
have
he
been a
deserved
director.
anything he did on the movie. He deserved it. Okay. If they didn't win it for cinematography, that's weird too because
That might
it
have
was
been the
beautiful.
third one. I don't know. It doesn't.
All
It
right.
doesn't say, but
But I highly recommend it. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of profanity. It's going to be gruesome.
it's rated R.
Gritty.
So-
Yeah. There's not any nudity or
Here, I'll
anything
read
though.
the- I'll
So
read the
it's
rated
just
R.
dark and
It's rated R for strong frontier combat.
Frontier Combat
Which
is
might
an
be-
official rating
That
now?
might be the coolest rating I've ever seen on a movie. And violence, including gory images,
Right.
a sexual assault, language, and brief nudity.
Right. Oh, there was. I don't remember.
I
seeing that.
imagine. I think it's
Maybe
a
it's a
scene-
butt,
I'm
someone's
pretty-
butt.
No, I'm almost positive it's a scene in the. You know, they go to that town, and it's like the colonist town or whatever.
Okay.
and I'm almost positive you see a guy that's like run through the scene naked.
Oh, really?
For some reason, like he's drunk or.
Right. For some
or he
reason,
took
I
a
was thinking
shower.
it was probably
Or
like
isn't there- I think
a
there's a
nude
scene-
dead body
No,
or something.
I think isn't there a scene where he's taking a bath in one of those old timey baths and he like stands up, but he's facing the other direction.
Right.
And he's-
That's what I assumed that
and
there
you
was
see
like a
his
butt
booty
scene.
cheeks.
I was assuming either a butt or a dead body thing, which
Yeah. Either way, it's really brief and.
right. But the movie is.
But if you're not, I mean, just know that that's in there. You look up the
Right.
ratings on.
Right.
Is it IMDb tells
now
you?
watch out for that frontier violence.
Yeah, if frontier combat is the thing that really gets to you, be aware. There's frontier combat, and it's gory.
Right. Yeah. But I highly recommend it.
Okay, spoiler alert.
Okay.
There's a combat. Probably the scene that everyone talked about whenever it first came
bear.
out was the bear fight scene.
Right.
He kills a bear. I'm pretty sure that's the frontier combat gory scene. It's talking about.
There's a lot of shooting.
But at the same time he's fighting the bear, he's fighting Tom Hardy. So it's like a triple threat,
Right.
and it's intense. And there's a lot of, and there's the beginning scene, the first scene with the, again, spoiler alert, the Indians or what are they?
American Indian attack.
Native Americans. What do the Canadians call them now?
I don't know.
Originalists or what do they call them?
2010
I can't remember what they call them.
American Indian was the definition of choice.
Really?
Over 70% said American Indian is what they preferred to be called, which I thought was pretty interesting. Kind of keep that
That is
separate from just,
I was
Native
gonna
American
Google it.
doesn't describe kind of their
I was gonna Google it,
history.
but I decided it wasn't worth it
right.
because it's Canadian. Who
Right.
cares about the Canadian?
So this is weird. Like
Etymology.
my ratings have been extremely high, and I'm sorry you're fixing to get another 5 stars from me.
Oh man.
But I can't
Oh,
help
no, but-
but every time we're talking about
Honestly-
movies to talk about, I can't help but pick movies I love that I've seen
Yeah.
late. And
You
this
know we're
is
gonna
one I
have to
love.
pick something we don't like. too.
Yeah, I know. It'll
We're gonna
happen.
get to a point
It'll
where we
happen.
actually pick the movie before we watch it or something like that, so we know that the rating will vary.
right,
But
right.
you picked this one. Now I'm gonna say I have to give it 5 stars too. This one is.
Woo, he
this is
agrees
a-
with me for once.
this
It's
is a-
happened.
it's an
I
excellent
have
movie.
become.
It's the like you said, the cinematography, the acting, the writing. It was all just really good.
Yep. I agree.
I have no complaints about that movie. That I can
Okay,
think of.
I have one small complaint, but it
Maybe
doesn't
they could
detract
have
from
not
a
had the
star.
brief nudity.
My one complaint is the gunfighting is too good. Like there are people diving behind logs, like shooting a handgun,
I
a
got you.
revolver like this,
Like
and
shots
hitting
you in-
people in the head.
Shots you would never actually.
Right,
pull off.
yeah. Instead of like people aiming revolvers in cover and missing most of the shots, people are diving
but-
and shooting revolvers, and everyone's getting hit.
Yeah, but
and they're pretty good distance apart
here's the
from
thing.
each
Though.
other.
Here's the thing about that.
Don't tell me
though.
the frontier
No.
training.
No. Good Lord, no.
On the
What I'm gonna
frontier,
say is, you're watching a movie.
right.
If it were real, if it were realistic, that'd be so boring.
But that's the thing, though, is so much of the movie feels realistic until you get to gunfights.
Yeah, but if you don't think about it, if you're just watching it and you're not considering the laws of physics involved with gunfighting, if you're just watching it,
well, that's it does make me
can
think
seem
about it
realistic,
though.
though.
When I see a whole bunch of people make shots that they shouldn't
I
make.
didn't get distracted by it. I liked
Still
it.
5 stars though.
I
That's
prefer
my only
a
qualm.
non-realistic gunfight scene in a movie like that because if it were realistic, it would be boring. It wouldn't be fun to watch.
Okay.
I also think we need to point out that
It's not that big a deal. It's still a 5-star movie.
I'm almost positive that this is based on a true story.
Really?
Uh-huh. Let me read it again. The story. True events, yes.
True events.
Inspired by. So
Inspired by.
It's not like this didn't
So
actually
people
really
out
happen.
on the
but
frontier getting beaver pelts inspired this
Yeah.
movie. That's basically probably
it
all
doesn't
it was.
say it doesn't say what true events inspired it, but it was inspired by true events. I imagine that the bear attack, because that's the part
Maybe,
that
yeah.
even the back here mentions
Some
the
guy
bear attack.
survived.
So
Some guy survived a bear attack back in the
Yeah.
day, so they had to make this
yeah,
movie.
either
is
that or
basically
he
what
survived a
happened.
bear attack while being attacked by someone that was hunting him and trying to kill him. So
Right.
it could have been that. But The Revenant, 5 stars from
5
me.
stars.
5
Yep.
stars from him. It's a great movie. Watch it if you want to.
All right.
All right,
You want to wrap
so,
it up for us?
Yeah, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content, we provide more content that's written on Facebook and Instagram and some on Twitter. You can follow us on all of those. On Instagram, it's at JC and the Beardless. On Facebook, it's JC ampersand the Beardless. And on Twitter, it's JC and the Beard. Trying to confuse
Couldn't
people.
fit it.
We also have a Patreon. Just search JC and the Beardless on there. We could use your support because the more support we get, the better we can make it, the more content we can produce.
Right.
And
Upgrade equipment.
upgrade equipment. Create merchandise, all that good stuff for you guys. And we'd really like to give you the best we can give you. So your support would be greatly appreciated. And we would put it toward anything we could to make the experience better for you guys. So also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon so you know when we post. We're going to be splitting these up into shorter segments for you guys so you can enjoy those in quicker spurts. We know you don't want to sit down for an hour every time and listen to us talk. So if you want to,
Or you might.
you might. If you want to, you do what you want to do, man. It'll be there. You'll have the option.
Right.
But if not, we'll have that option available for you as well. So hit that notification bell. So every day whenever we post that shorter segment, you get that notification and you can just listen to it right away. You don't even have to wait. You can just right then listen to it, really get caught up. So thank you guys for watching. You have anything you want to add?
I just want to do the whole whatever you just do. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Oh, we will see you next week.
Gosh, I'm so racist. See ya.
See you next week.